All right, today we're diving into something that could genuinely change how we build AI forever. It's a system called MLZero. And get this, it's basically an AI that's been designed to build other AIs, completely from scratch.
So, just imagine this for a second. What if you could point an AI to a folder full of just raw, messy, disorganized data and just say, build me a solution? Seriously, no coding, no manual tweaking, no need to call in an expert. That right there, that's the dream of what we call AutoML, automated machine learning. It's this long-held quest to create a powerful AI model with, the simple push of a button.
But here's the catch. For years, there's been this massive gap between that promise and, well, reality. We were promised this easy push-button solution, right? But what we actually got, it usually requires some serious expert knowledge. We were told it'd be totally automatic, but it still needs a ton of hands-on manual tuning. And yeah, it works great on nice, clean, perfectly prepared data. But throw the messy, real-world stuff at it, it just kind of falls apart, especially with what's called multimodal data, which is really just a fancy way of saying different kinds of data, like images, text, and spreadsheets, all jumbled together in one big, disorganized pile.
And that right there, that's the core bottleneck. Most AutoML systems we have today, they're really more like a fancy toolbox than a true end-to-end problem solver. They get tripped up by all the different data formats and basically need a human to do all the heavy lifting, all the cleaning and organizing before the automation part can even start. And that leaves this huge, obvious gap for a system that can actually do it all on its own.
And this is where our story takes a turn. Enter MLZero. A team of researchers has unveiled a brand new system designed from the ground up to bridge that exact gap we were just talking about and finally deliver on that original promise of AutoML.
The actual research paper puts it perfectly. It calls MLZero a novel multi-agent framework. Now, what does that mean? Basically, think of it like a team of specialized AIs, all working together. Their goal is complete end-to-end automation, handling all sorts of different data types with, and you gotta love this part, minimal human intervention. That's the golden phrase. So the big question is, how on earth does it actually pull this off?
Well, the secret sauce is really in its architecture. It's got these three, let's call them superpowers, that other systems just don't have. So let's break down what they are. Okay, superpower number one, the perception module. This is basically the system's eyes and ears. Instead of waiting for a person to come in and clean up the data, this module just dives right into the raw, disorganized files. It figures out what the goal is, like, am I supposed to be sorting photos, or am I predicting a price? And it even picks the best tool, the best machine learning library for that specific job. It literally creates an orderly plan out of complete chaos.
Then we have semantic memory. Now, this one is huge because it solves a massive problem with AIs that write code. They hallucinate. You've probably heard of that. It's when the AI just makes up code that looks plausible but is totally wrong and doesn't work. So semantic memory acts like its own internal, super smart library. It's packed with proven, real-world documentation and code examples, which means the code it generates is actually accurate and effective.
And the third superpower is what they call episodic memory. Think of this as the system's own personal journal or diary. It keeps track of everything it does, every single line of code it runs, every error message it gets back, all of it. And this is so powerful because it allows the system to learn from its own mistakes, exactly like a human developer does. That makes it crazy efficient at debugging itself and improving its own work.
So you take these three superpowers, and they all feed into MLZero's core process, which is this really cool refinement loop. Here's how it works. First, the coder agent writes some Python code. Then, the executor agent tries to run it in a safe space. If it breaks, which, code often does, the error analyzer agent jumps in. It scans the logs, and using those memories we just talked about, it figures out what went wrong and suggests a fix. Then the whole loop starts over, getting better and better with each cycle until, bam, it works.
Okay, so the theory sounds amazing, right? But here's the million-dollar question. Does it actually work in practice? To find out, the researchers threw MLZero into the ring, putting it through this brutal gauntlet of machine learning challenges to see how it would stack up against the other top systems out there.
And the results, well, they were absolutely staggering. I mean, look at this. On a brand new test with 25 really diverse, messy data tasks, MLZero hit a success rate of 92%. Now, just look at that gap. The next best competitor, it only managed 25%.
This wasn't just a small step up. It's like MLZero was playing a completely different sport. They're not even in the same league.
Let's put that into perspective. That 92% success rate means it's a more than 263% improvement over the other methods. Let that sink in for a second. That's not a gradual improvement. That's a massive, massive leap forward for what's possible in automated AI development.
And just to prove it wasn't a fluke, they tested it again. On another well-known benchmark called MLE Bench Lite, it did it again, outperformed every single competitor, snagged 6 gold medals, and hit the top success rate of 86%. This kind of consistency just proves how solid the whole design really is. So these numbers are obviously impressive, but what does it all really mean? What are the bigger implications for the future of AI? Why does a system like MLZero matter, beyond just winning competitions? Well, the way I see it, the impact is huge, and it breaks down into 3 key things. First, this is about democratizing AI. It means people who aren't ML PhDs can suddenly build really sophisticated custom AI solutions. Second, it actually delivers on that old promise of true end-to-end automation. You give it raw data, it gives you a working model. And third, because of its smart design with those cooperating agents, it's super efficient. It works incredibly well even with smaller, cheaper, more accessible language models.
And all of this leads us to one final, really fascinating question to think about. For decades, some of the smartest people on the planet have been focused on the incredibly hard problem of building AI. But if that whole process is about to be automated, what happens to all that brain power? If the AI is building the AI, what incredible new things will we build next?